Good day, Crime Talk aficionados. This is Scott Reisch of Crime Talk. And today on the docket, an Epstein video gone missing. Second, just when you thought it was safe to go to the doctor's office, and our dumb criminal contestant of the day. Let's talk about it. Good day, Crime Talk aficionados. This is Scott Reisch of Crime Talk, and thank you for tuning in. If you haven't noticed, guess what happened? Yes, that's right. We hit 70,000 subscribers this morning. Thank you very much. Could not be done without you, and we do appreciate it. But if you have not subscribed yet, please hit that subscribe button. Hit that little bell so you receive notifications of when we put out new content. And please leave us a comment. First on the docket, Jeffrey Epstein. Yep, that's right. Just when you thought the Bureau of Prisons and the United States Attorney's Office couldn't screw things up any further, yes, that's right, they can. The surveillance footage of the outside of Jeffrey Epstein's cell at the Metropolitan Correctional Center during his suicide attempt has gone missing, and the prosecutors have no idea where it might be. The missing video, just so we're clear, is the video outside of the cell that Mr. Epstein was sharing with Nick Targallone. Now, take a look at this Mr. Targallone. This guy, his arms are big enough, he could snap Mr. Epstein's neck like a dry twig, all right? Now, why is this video issue coming about? Well, Mr. Targallone wants it for his death penalty case. He is a former police officer charged with 4 counts of murder for basically a drug deal that he was involved in gone bad. And his attorneys want to be able to show, according to Mr. Targallone's claim, that he actually saved Mr. Epstein from Mr. Epstein's first suicide attempt, and he wants this to show the world that he's a good guy. That's why it's become of relevance. But of course, the United States government and the Bureau of Prisons screwed it up. And why is this even more flagrant? Was that Mr. Targallone's attorneys filed a request that the footage at issue be preserved 2 days after Mr. Epstein's unsuccessful suicide attempt on July 23rd. You can imagine that Mr. Targallone's attorneys are livid. This information is also important to Mr. Targallone because, according to the reports that we do know about, Mr. Epstein is the one that said Mr. Targallone attacked him and that he wasn't, in fact, trying to commit suicide. And the reason he was at the hospital was because he was attacked. This looks like a situation where not only is the Bureau of Prisons and the United States Attorney going to look bad, it's going to make Mr. Targallone not be able to get his good character evidence for his death penalty trial. We understand sometimes things like this may happen, but in the case of Mr. Epstein, you would have thought that everything would have been preserved, just given the crazy theories that were going on out there, but maybe not so crazy theories that maybe Mr. Epstein didn't kill himself. Let me know what you think. Next on the docket, just when you thought it was safe to go to the doctor. That's right. You would think that there are some places where you think you could actually be safe. Well, there was a nurse in Pennsylvania, and his name is Michael Bragg. And what Michael Bragg liked to do was, well, that's right, videotape his patients. And prosecutors have discovered some 206 patients that were videotaped. All these videotapes of patients were done without their consent. And apparently, there's even a video where Mr. Bragg sexually assaulted an unconscious victim while she was intubated. Further, there's video of him groping ER patients. And to make things even worse was that Mr. Bragg was already under investigation for allegedly doing the same thing, recording people without their consent, but in this particular case, children using the restroom at his home. Fortunately, Mr. Bragg was immediately fired from UMPC Carlisle immediately upon his arrest for the first case involving the children. If you believe that you are a patient at the UPMC Carlisle Emergency Room between January 16th and April 19th of 2019, and if you believe you are treated by Mr. Michael Bragg, you can call the Predator Hotline at 800-385-1044. Hopefully, there are no further victims. And finally, our contestant today for the Dumb Criminal of the Day, who ultimately is competing for the Dumb Criminal Contestant of the Week. And yes, this gentleman's name, and he is presumed innocent like all the people we discuss on this case, and until and if they plead guilty or are convicted. But Mr. Brandon Sutherland is accused of throwing a Pop-Tart. Yes, a Pop-Tart. It did not take out an eye. It did not leave a mark. Well, apparently it left a little bit of a mark. But apparently he threw a Pop-Tart after an argument with a woman, and it hit her in the arm. The police were promptly called. They observed during their investigation the broken Pop-Tart on the ground. We must assume that they have collected the Pop-Tart, and that they also observed a bruise on the woman's arm, presumably from the Pop-Tart. Now, I am certainly not advocating that anybody throw Pop-Tarts at anyone, or anyone should throw anything in anger, particularly in any kind of domestic dispute. I'm certainly not trying to minimize any kind of violence against anyone. Mr. Sutherland should not have thrown the Pop-Tart. But it really makes you wonder in today's age if this is what it has all come down to. I once had a case where neighbors overheard a couple fighting. The houses were close together. The police arrived, knocked on the door, and wanted to make sure that everybody was in fact safe. The police, while conducting their investigation, promptly removed the husband and wife who had been married for many, many years to separate rooms to interrogate them to see if any violence had taken place. They asked, "Had anybody hit you?" Both parties responded, "No." "Was there any threats of violence?" "No." "Was anything thrown?" And one of the parties thought for a moment, well, we were arguing about money, and this individual then said that the checkbook was tossed across the table at her because the husband had stated, quote, "Fine, if you don't like the way I handle the bills, you take care of it." Whereupon the gentleman in the checkbook tossing case was arrested for domestic violence. Certainly, no man should ever, ever, ever hit a woman. Hopefully, there's no domestic violence against anyone in the world, but I'm a realist. It's going to take place. But flicking a checkbook, or perhaps even a Pop-Tart, I'm not sure warrants an actual arrest. It makes you just wonder, in today's world, that the police have no discretion in any type of cases. If people hear arguments, maybe the police should be able to say, go take a walk around the block, let them use their judgment, versus the mentality of today's world that basically if the police are called, somebody is going to jail. And just so we're clear, Mr. Sutherland was not charged with domestic battery related to the woman, even though he'd had a prior domestic violence incident with him. He is also a veteran suffering from some sort of PTSD, and the district attorney decided not to file charges. As I stated earlier, thank you for your support on this channel. When we started the channel, we had no idea really what we were doing or where we were going, but we knew we wanted to explain cases in a little more detail than what you heard on the local news. And we hopefully that we do that. We try to stick to the facts, but yet still provide analysis, fair and objective to both sides. We hope you're getting that. We hope you appreciate it. And please hit that subscribe button if you have not already done so. Have a great day. We'll see you next time on Crime Talk.